Village as well as Pendleton, and a place on Telegraph Road that they're going to be targeting for possible well locations. Once they have finished that and develop a report and recommendation on where to drill a well, we will then proceed with bidding the well drilling out and bring a proposal back to the board to have that approved individually as a separate funding source. Currently, there's a $100,000 budgeted to do this, and the Golder proposal is $63,700.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shebo, can we talk to these folks also about about horizontal boring in some of our other wells that have stopped producing to see if that's viable? Are these folks capable of telling us that?
Yes, I actually, you had mentioned that one time before, and I asked them about that. They said that right now the technology to do that hasn't been as easy to do as it might seem, and it is getting better. He's saying basically that when we find these wells that you pretty much have taken that area and you have consolidated all of the minerals in that ground around that well area. So as you start trying to get away from that, normally we lose our production due to the fractures being clogged, exactly, due to, most of the time, due to the minerals that have clogged those areas up, those veins. So he doesn't think the investment is worthwhile. You're better off to move over and drill a new well than trying to do that.
Okay.
Good. Okay, and we congratulate you for being under projected budget.
Actually, we asked for 200, which included well drilling, and it got cut in half. So we still have to do well drilling.
We congratulate you on staying under budget.
Yes, sir.
Because you will. Motion to go ahead would be in order.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Akers, seconded by Mr. Black. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 13 is the hunting ordinance. We're gonna move 13 off because that's not hunting until next year, May of 2014. Right. But we're not going to do any hunting right now because. Right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
We're under new business.
Yes, sir.
We had asked the YMCA for a declaration of what the change orders were and the costs associated with that, and we have not received it. And I have spoken to folks that say we should not continue to pay any other bills until we get those explanations because they're auditable. I'd like to make a motion that we not pay the YMCA bills till we get the information that we requested at the last meeting with the YMCA.
Second.
Discussion.
I guess my question is, can we legally do that? Because it's a grant that the board had given to the Y to build the building. As was said at the last meeting, the grant was for $5 million. Mm-hmm. Now, if they cannot bring it in under $5 million, then it's their baby and not the county's baby to come up with the difference. I think that they're working to get the change orders. I don't know whether he has talked to you about it or not.
We talked to him about it, he was going to get the information. He has not gotten it to us yet. And his statement were, what he would get us what he was contractually obligated to provide.
Right. But the point is that in the grant application, it doesn't exclude those bills because they're submitting up to us to be paid.
Right.
But there's no explanation on what we're paying. And I'm just saying that at this point, with the number of change orders that are missing and the change orders that we've gotten with no signed documentation as to the signed change order by the architect and no explanation of what those are, and all the missing ones, that I think that we shouldn't, and they're submitting bills that we're paying. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying they need to provide an auditable bill for that $5 million, because if we granted them $5 million, we would have just given it to them. Instead, we're asking for construction costs to come to us that Mr. Culley is looking at, and they're giving them to staff, but there's no explanation, and we're paying the bill. It's still public money. It's still auditable.
Okay.
Does he know what he's, but do you know what you're, no disrespect.
You're supposed to be getting the change orders. Right.
Change orders, description, cost.
I understand, and for, just for ease and as a matter of compromise, we meet in 2 weeks, October 8th. Exactly 2 weeks. Would you withdraw your motion until October 8th? We'll give them another 2 weeks to get the change orders to you. And if they don't do that, knowing that your motion will be out there to not pay them, I think we have an issue. But I'll support your motion to not pay them if they don't come back in another 2 weeks.
Have we
Is that fair?
have we paid a September invoice, Mr. Cully?
Yes, we have. 104,000.
104.
And not all of that was to the contractor. That was to architect, third party, and the contractor.
We're going to get you one of those portable mics.
When they submit a request, that request goes directly to the bank, and the bank sends the money directly to the YMCA. We don't physically write a bill or a check to the YMCA.
Mr. Chairman, I will compromise on that, absolutely, we've already paid. Do we have a method for stopping that until we get the documentation that we need?
Well, I think it depends on the contract, and I don't have it in front of me. So, I mean, what we can do will depend on what the contract says we can do, or what, the contract documents say. And we would need to look at that.
It talks about liens, mechanical liens and liens, and I know when there was an issue recently, then the bank wasn't going to pay those bills.
So we have that ability.
The bank had that ability.
Yeah.
The bank said
We
they
have
weren't
whatever
paying.
ability is in that contract,
Yeah.
in the contract documents, plural probably, and
Let's
I
follow
just
it up
don't know
until
the
then.
answer without looking at the
We can wait till
detail.
Okay, can you look at the detail
And I'm
between
writing
now
a
and
note
October
that
8th?
Ben and I
And the other was the date that Mr. Black asked for.
And there was a date Mr. Black had asked for when the donation came in.
When the donation.
We would like to have those by October 8th, please. Will you withdraw your motion
I
until
will
then?
withdraw my motion, Mr. Chairman, till
Thank
the
you very
8th of
much, sir.
October.
Okay, Mr. Shebel, where'd he go?
He's right behind you.
Okay. Now, contrary to popular opinion, Mr. Shebel is the only one with a narrowband system.
That's right. Luckily, because we use this for our SCADA system, which is our supervisory control and data acquisition system, we installed in 2005 and gives us the ability to look instantaneously at our wells and pump stations and wastewater treatment plant from a remote laptop. At the wastewater treatment plant currently, that's all being upgraded in the facility itself. We've got fiber rings being installed, and the SCADA system will be monitoring and actually running certain portions of the new facility. During this upgrade, as we were drilling wells and putting in sand filters, we knew that we would have to put SCADA system on those facilities so that we could monitor those. Became very valuable when we had the pump go down and the loss of water in our system. We were able to instantaneously see how much water was in the system, what wells were running, and it is a very good tool for us. It also allowed us to go from a 16-day operation at the wastewater treatment plant to an 8-hour-day facility to be manned. And that was because if there's something that happens, we have a way to be notified that there are certain emergencies at the facility without it actually being manned, and we're then able to respond in a timely manner. As drilling part of those wells, there was money included to upgrade the SCADA system at those facilities. As the contractor has been getting ready to start integrating this into the new system, we have found out through some issues that we've been having of communications issues. And if you take a $10,000 system or $10 million system and it can't communicate, it's not worth one red cent. So what they did is they came out and they actually did a radio study. They looked at it and said, well, you've got communications issues. You've got 1 milliwatt, or actually 0.01 milliwatts, which is a tenth of a watt, basically, that they're able to do. And we actually can be up to 1 watt. So the recommendation from them was to upgrade all of our radios to a 1 watt radio that are currently in the lower wattage. Also to upgrade all of our PLCs to a Allen Bradley, which is a standard model that's out there that anybody can get off of a shelf and put in. Currently, what's out there is obsolete. You can't find the parts. The company that installed it was from Ohio. We've had several companies come in and look at this over the years trying to fix what we currently have, and it just wouldn't work. Basically, what the contractor's doing is would then be going out to all of our remote sites and upgrading those for $148,245. We do have funding available currently in the well drilling project of $191,963.16, with recommendation that that's where that funding would come from.
Questions?
Is that where we took the 63,000 for the last?
Which, no, that was
No.
that's actually $100,000 that we've got aside. No, sir.
Okay.
The groundwater one was budgeted.
Okay.
For 100,000 this year. This one is,
Unbudgeted.
well,
Part of the Carmel Church
yeah,
well
this is,
field
the
borrowing.
project came in under, so we
Okay.
have some money left,
So.
even though it was borrowed.
We couldn't use this to drill wells?
We can, yes, sir.
But
There's more money in there that we've got to reconcile. Right now, it's tied up with water tower painting. We would have to go back to the funding agency and ask for them to be able to reallocate that to doing other utility projects that are still out there. We've got a couple more payments that we've got to do, and we've got an issue between maintenance and actual renovations, working through the funding agency that Fran's working on trying to do that. So there is some additional funds there. The total fund, 300 and something? 489, she said, is the total amount. The 191 is what's available to be able to use for the current well fields.
491,000,
That's correct.
not $491. Okay. I'd just like to make sure I understand.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to see it in writing, because we're talking about two different accounts, two different amounts of money, and two different,
Well, this one is from the $1 million that we borrowed
Okay.
for wells.
That's correct.
And since we found some water, we didn't drill all the wells we had to right away, we can use this money to help monitor the wells we're going to have.
I
Actually-
understand the monitoring portion.
Okay.
When
So
we
we're good.
we borrowed $1 million, included upgrading SCADA to sand filters and new
Right.
wells, which we have no monitoring at all.
Okay. On our October 8th meeting, Mr. Shebel, I'm asking Mr. Cully, could you get us a detailed report of that particular $1 million borrowing, where it is, what's left, what still has to be out there?
Right.
So-
Part of the ban that we had was rolled into that, and that's part of that money in there with the water tower painting.
I'm sure Mrs. Hatcher can get all of
Yeah,
that.
she's
for
got
us.
all that information.
I have it all, but I mean, the numbers he has it's very simple. We borrowed $1 million. I have $191,000 left, which was the Carmel Church well improvements. When we borrowed the $1 million, the money that was left in the 2008 utility ban that had to be paid off is also being held by VRA. Of that money, there's $289,000 left, which was set aside for the well drilling. VRA has had an issue with the bills that are now coming in on the tank maintenance.
Right.
They're
Okay.
not allowing them, so we'd have to ask them to turn that money, put
Back
that
to
money with the
something else.
191, which
Okay.
is how much is in the bank account
Fine.
with U.S. Bank.
Mr. Seeley asked if we could see that in writing.
I
So
can-
if you
I
could
can
put that in
certainly do
writing,
that.
we'd appreciate it.
So we may have enough money to pay for the drilling of the well that you're talking about without going and borrowing again, or without...
That's correct.
I just want to see, because it sounds simple when they're down there 200 here and 195 there. I just want to see it, because
Just, and we
That's
could-
fine.
we
I'll
could-
be glad to email
That'd
to
be
you
great.
three
we could-
numbers.
We could take that as purely informational. You know, you can send it to us between now and the 8th, but we're going to look for it on the 8th to make sure we got it. Okay?
You do, and it's already been approved by VRA. That money is in there.
Okay. Just wouldn't need a line that says VRA money, VRA questions, and all those things. Okay. So, do we need a motion to approve the SCADA system? I guess we do.
It's actually a change order, so we
Change
would
order.
need one. Yes, sir.
Right. Proposed change order number 4 for wastewater treatment plant. So moved. Is there a motion? So moved was a hint. So moved.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Second.
So, hey, make sure what we've got.
Okay. Mr. Taylor seconded.
Okay.
There's discussion?
we were just having that.
My thoughts are, that we just, why not wait until we see what the numbers do show at the 8th meeting, and then we go from that point on?
But
I'm
this
not sure
is-
you're going to do anything between now and the 8th.
Isn't this a lot?
Actually, the contractors, I mean, he's getting ready to move out.
Yeah.
He's got most of his equipment in 2 weeks, will pretty much be done.
This is a live-
State is what
this
he's
a live
waiting
active
on right
system,
now.
so it is live and active.
It is, yes.
Okay. So we probably need to move on. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Shebel. Information calendar items.
Of course, you all know the State Fair starts this week. We do have a couple of festivals in October, Bowling Green on the 19th and Frog Level on the 26th. And one thing I would want to point out that you'd want to be at, if you can, we agreed to it months ago, was the RACSB Legislative Get-Together. It's on the 22nd, 6:30 to 8:30.
Oh.
And we told them, that date worked for us.
Sure did, but that's the day after my mother's birthday. I'll probably be coming home. I might make it.
Okay. But anyway, that was they always look forward to us being there.
Okay. Closing board comments? Mr. Black?
None.
Mr. Seeley?
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Underwood?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, I would only say that my only suggestion, if Mr. Raleigh does not give the date, I would certainly maybe ask or say that you could ask Mike Mans to come in and talk to you about that. He is the person that made the contact with Beverly Run for the donation, and he can tell you what date it is that it came in. I know it was mentioned at the last board meeting that Beverly Run is ALA. I can assure everybody, the whole world, that I have not spoken to those people at all at Beverly Run. And so, Mike Mans could very well tell you what the date is if Mr. Raleigh doesn't have that. So you could call Mr. Mans and he may could very well tell you what
We'll ask
the date
Mr. Cully to follow up on that.
is. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
I had mentioned about my district meetings. I failed to mention that Mrs. Tinker Harris will be a part of those meetings as the school board representative, and she will be talking about the proposed bond referendum. So I'm just kind of putting it out there. So citizens might be concerned about that, or they may have questions. And so she will be there as the Port Royal District School Board representative at the district meeting. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, that's a good point, because on that note, I recall when we met with the school board last, that around this time, like October, they were supposed to have better numbers. So we should probably meet with the school board sometime in October before the November election.
Do you want to see if they want to meet on the 9th with us, since we're going to be meeting anyways?
That would be a good idea. They can meet us on the 9th, and really we want to, the point is, at least for me, not to micromanage what they're doing, but to get an idea if we say X number of dollars for one project and Y number for another, that's what we're actually selling. Because once we get the project approved, they can do what they want to do. So we want to have as much as we can there. Okay. My closing board comments, Mr. Taylor, you're going to attend the sheriff's
I will.
acceptance of an assault vehicle from the Army on Friday?
I'll do that.
Okay. No, that's at AP Hill. He said the Fairgrounds? He told me AP Hill. Okay. He got it from AP Hill? All right, we'll tell you where to go tomorrow. I'll tell you where to go tomorrow.
You always tell me what it is.
I will tell you where to go for sure. And we'll cut the mic off so you understand.
All right.
October 3rd, before our next board meeting, is a Trooper Fox dedication at the State Fair. He's a state trooper that was killed in the line of duty down there. So that's at 9 a.m. on October 3rd. And I think that's about it. The Sidney King event, the portraits we have on loan from the Parks Department is Thursday at 5:30. And thank you, Mrs. Hall, for checking my calendar. All right, let's do this closed meeting thing, and then we can adjourn. All right, we're going into closed meeting to discuss.
What language should we use?
What is this? We're discussing a project that has not been
No, legal.
legal advice?
2.2-3711A7.
2-137.
3711A7.
3711A7. Okay, we need to go into a closed meeting based on legal advice.
So moved.
As presented by the county attorney. Mr. Akers made the motion. Who made the second?
Second.
Mr. Steele. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in closed meeting. Gentlemen, we don't have any action on the closed meeting. No action. We need to come out of closed meeting, so we need a motion to come out of closed meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're out of closed meeting. Mr. Black, do you certify that only those things that we went into closed meeting were discussed?
I so certify.
Mr. Seeley.
I so certify.
Mr. Underwood.
This is fine.
Mr. Akers.
I so certify.
Mr. Taylor.
Also certified.
And I so certify. Is there a motion to adjourn? No action.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. We're